The tools you're going to be needing are scissors, tweezers, a mascara wand, a few sticks, about 3 to 4 cotton rounds, and a few muslin strips. So I'm going to get a cotton pad and I'm going to cleanse the skin. I'm just going to use micellar water. So my client's skin is a little bit more on the dry side and more acne prone. So you want to ask the client, are you using any retin-A, retinol, Accutane, anything that is making the skin dry? If the client is using products that's going to make the skin dry, you want to make sure it's not going to lift their skin because there's a possibility that they are using product that is treating their acne. And when you use products that treat their acne, it's not a good picture. She is not using anything to treat the acne. So we're just going to kind of feel the skin and see if it's okay for wax. It's a little dry, but I think her skin will be okay with it. We're going to start by trimming the brows. Not too much, because if you look at him closely, it's just right here that needs to be trimmed. You don't want to trim too much on someone that doesn't really need trimming because it's going to make holes in their brows and it might make them look thinner. Sometimes the client just needs a trim and it already makes it better. After trimming, I'm going to start by grabbing a stick and doing the center of the brow or in between the eyebrows. Now, whether or not to determine if where it needs to be waxed, you could take a pencil, you can even take a stick and go from the bridge of the nose and up, and anything between that is what you can wax. And then also to determine the arch of the brow, you want to take the end of their nose, open your eyes, look directly at me, have the client look directly at you, and anything from the end of the nose to the end of the pupil or the round part of your eye is where the arch should be. And then from the end of the nose to the end of the eye is where the brow should end. Now I'm going to start at the bottom of the brow and I'm going to create that shape, but also enough so that there's still fullness in the brow. So we're gonna take this wax and kind of go all the way down here. She doesn't have that much around the eyelid, so just right here is good enough. Even though clients do have hairs here, you want to be careful because the skin is a lot thinner, so it's easier for the skin to lift and get really sensitive. And I'm gonna take a strip, and I'm not gonna cover the brow. I'm gonna put it right where the wax begins, and I'm gonna press on it once, wax it off. I'm gonna fold the muslin and do it again on this side. Remember not to cover the eyebrow, and then wax it off. And swipe it up. I like to make sure that you have a mascara wand in your hand, so that way you can keep combing it and making sure the hairs are tamed. And I'm just gonna go in and tweeze anything. We're gonna come back to tweezing it a little bit, but we're probably gonna need to shape a little bit more underneath. But I don't wanna thin it out too much, so I'm gonna do the top of it right now. And so you can straighten out the wax a little bit on the other end of the stick, just so you can get more of that straight edge. I'm gonna do it on this side. I'm not gonna do too much around the sides because she does have more dry skin. Then I'm gonna take the other side of the stick and straighten that edge of the wax to create more of that easy pull with the wax. So again, I'm gonna take the edge of the strip and not cover the brow, but put it right where that wax is. I'm gonna fold the muslin strip again and use that other end. And you can see there's hair that's removed. So that already makes a big difference with that end and the other end. But we're gonna clean it up a little bit. So once that's complete, we're not gonna go back into waxing it because you don't wanna wax the skin more than once on the same spot. So I'm gonna take a cotton round and some oil so I can clean off any excess wax. And this will also help me see if there's any little hairs that need to be tweezed. So even though on the end it still looks thick with her brows, we're still going to leave it because her brows are a lot shorter coming down from the end. So that way there's room for an area to fill in. So then after doing this brow, we're gonna take our mirror and ask the client if they like this eyebrow. Do you like that eyebrow?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So once they agree with this eyebrow, you can move on to the next one. That way, if they needed to go thinner, you can go thinner here and tweeze that out. And then when you go to this one, you could do less work because you know that this is what they want. So again, we're going to take our wax and we're just going to apply on the bottom of the right eyebrow. And if you're worried about the shape, just do it so that we're removing the hair off of the bottom area at least, and we can worry about shaping them with the tweezers. And then we're going to take our strip and make sure you have it at the end. And make sure you're tauting the skin. When you taut the skin, turn your head back. When you taut the skin, you want to pull this back as tight as you can and wax it off. Then we're going to fold and do the same with this other end. Taut the skin and pull. Sometimes if you see hairs that are left behind, it might be because they tweezed and that's what grew out. And it's usually harder to have the wax remove it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to tweeze a little bit to match this brow with our arch. So she also doesn't have much on the tail end over here as well. It's a lot more straighter, but we're going to leave some of the hairs there so that way when she does fill it in, she can create that arch going down. So I'm going to take the wax again and I'm going to do the top. I'm going to take the other end and swipe on the bottom so you can get more of that clean edge. Do it on the other side. And I'm also going to do the strip on the edge of the wax. And you don't want to push too much like this. You just want to do one nice light swipe and then wax off. Fold the strip again and do it on this side. Clean that up. If you see little hairs, you can also fold the strip and then just pull it off like Now I like to take more of the oil once I'm done waxing and clean it up. That way you could see any of the extra hairs that need to be tweezed, and the sticky residue from the wax won't be there anymore. Now we have to remember that brows are sisters, they're not twins, so they're not going to be 100% even. But we want to make sure that they're at least as close as can be. All right, now her brows are complete and we're going to show it to her. Do you like your eyebrows? Yeah. So once she likes them, we're going to take toner and maybe aloe or cooling gel. I don't have cooling gel, but I'm going to take toner. And I'm actually going to take 2 pads. This is going to be nice and comfortable for the client, but I'm just going to kind of massage it onto their skin. Since we just used a hot wax on them, this is a good way to kind of relax their skin, close up the pores a little bit. All right. Now we're going to fill in her brows. I'm going to be using a pencil from Benefit. And I'm going to start by outlining the brow. I like to go at the head of the brow and then just draw kind of a line on the bottom of the brow. Just by doing that already makes a difference. And I'm going to do the same with the top. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to outline the brow from the top and the bottom. Just by doing that already, you can see what shape they would be getting. And then I'm going to lightly go in the areas where she needs more filling in. So for this brow, she's going to need more at the top where the arch is, and then on the tail. And for this brow, it's more at the arch. So very lightly, I'm not even putting a lot of pressure on the brow with the pencil. And then maybe on the tail end as well. And that already looks natural. And then I'm going to comb through. By combing through when doing this, it gives it more of that natural shape. So you don't have to do so dark and so much. And if you want to, you can kind of go in and fill in a little bit more. I'm going to lightly do it on the tail end and then the head of the brow. Same right here, very lightly. This pencil is good enough to get more of hair-like strokes, so you can kind of just draw upwards and then comb through. And that's already looking good. So I'm actually going to take a concealer and I'm going to take my flat brush and I'm going to highlight and define the brow a little bit more. So I like to pull the skin at the top and kind of brush it. Just very, very lightly, not even a lot, just enough to kind of get a little bit of the brush moist from the concealer. And just outline it. And you can see the difference on how much of a clean look that is. Very clean and even. Same thing on this end. And without any more, I'm just gonna take the brush and just kind of brush it through and blend it. And just by doing that, it gives it a clean look, very natural. And you could finish off the brow by taking a clear brow gel. I'm using the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. This one has a flat brush. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the flat piece and push the hair back. So it allows the hair to get even strokes. And this is going to help set the hair to keep it in place. It's almost like hairspray for your brows, but you can see how clean and sleek that looks versus this side. And I'm going to do this way or this side. And I'm going to just clean up the brush. And there you have it. Clean, sleek brows.